to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Apologize for the 480p. It's just much easier for me to get the quotes up when I do it on my laptop. And this was a video I wanted to pull some quotes up for you guys regarding the offensive line. But before I get started, just want to let everybody know I will be live tonight on Bad Dogs channel for Talkin' Giants. In addition to that, I'll be live here Saturday, hoping to have some of you guys on via video. And I'll be calling the game on Sunday between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles on this channel. Also, a lot of you guys have asked about my Discord. I'm going to post the link in the pinned comment below, and you can follow me on my socials right there on Instagram or Twitter. Those are my handles right there. So hopefully I see some of you guys over there. But I kind of wanted to jump into the major storylines with the New York Giants right now. And one of them is going to revolve around the offensive line. News has come out today about what Joe Judge has said his plan is at the guard position right now. Of course, Shane Lemieux has gotten some burn, being that, well, Will Hernandez was out due to the virus. Will Hernandez is back, and now a major question mark for a lot of New York Giants fans based on the fact that the offensive line has started to play relatively well. What is going to be the plan at that guard position going forward? Will Hernandez, of course, a player that the New York Giants, I still think, value, and a guy that they spent a high draft pick on, they think could blossom and become a better guard. And Shane Lemieux is a guy that you want to get as much exposure and experience as you possibly can. In addition to that, you have your veteran on the offensive line in Kevin Zeitler, who may not be a part of the future, but he's a guy that is valuable on the line right now, and maybe the most consistent player on the offensive line. So it is a big-time question mark for the New York Giants, and Joe Judge at least gave a partial answer to it. I'm going to jump into that. I also wanted to touch on Leonard Williams, and we're going to start there. Leonard Williams, of course, was a very very volatile player when he came in here due to the fact that the New York Giants made a trade when they were 2-5, and a lot of people never understood the trade, and a lot of people still don't understand the trade. And I definitely understand that, and I definitely understand bashing the trade, and I'm not even going to try to defend it. It's in the past. We're now in the present. We're past the trade. Now we're going to evaluate Leonard Williams on the way he's played with the New York Giants, and we're going to talk about whether or not it's in the New York Giants' best interest to potentially extend Leonard Williams. Now, I was a guy that came out and said, at the trade deadline, if Leonard Williams was not in the long-term plans for the New York Giants, I would look to trade him. Simply because you get what you possibly can. Now, maybe the Giants didn't think they could get anything more than a third-round pick, which is what they'd be compensated based on the way that Leonard Williams is playing this year, and he still may not be in the long-term plans. And, of course, a lot of this rests on the shoulders of whether or not Dave Gettleman will be back as the GM. It's only, obvious common sense. If Gettleman is back, being that he traded for Williams, he obviously values the player very highly, he'd want to bring him back. If Gettleman is not back, well, that changes everything completely. But based off the way that Leonard Williams has played this year, you would think it is at least probable that there is a good chance that the New York Giants could bring him back. But the question is, what is the price going to be, and is he worth the money that he could potentially command? And the New York Giants right now, if you look at Sport Track, have about $20 million in cap space. Now, of course, all this is estimates. Right now, they have the cap at about $184 million. This year was $198, and it traditionally goes up by about 5 to 7%, but because of everything that's gone on with the pandemic, people are projecting that it'll either drop or potentially freeze. If it were to freeze, they'd have approximately $35 million before making alterations like trading away Kevin Zeitler, which would save you $14, cutting Zeitler after June 1st, which could save you another $10, cutting Tate could save you about $6. All in all, I'm estimating the New York Giants to have approximately $50 million when it's all said and done. Another player that the New York Giants will have to make a decision on, other than Wayne Gallman, who's another player, but that would be a smaller contract, is Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson has come out and basically said that he would take a discount to stay with the New York Giants. He has Alabama roots. He's talked about that he loves to play in the Patrick Graham defense, and Tomlinson has been phenomenal with the New York Giants over the last 2 years and is a homegrown talent. But if you were to keep Tomlinson and sign Leonard Williams, a lot of that $50 million would evaporate very quickly, more than half of it. Leonard Williams this year is making $16 or $17 million based on the franchise tag, and we all know that he tried to get 19, and he tried to qualify as a defensive end. Williams has said that he loves playing this sport, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and Williams is going to try to get every single penny he could get, whether it's with the New York Giants or whether it's with somebody else. So you have to ask yourself, as a Giants fan, is it worth giving Leonard Williams $18 million a year over a 4-year deal? Now, why would I have hesitancy towards that? It's not just about, I want these guys to get paid as much as they can. It has nothing to do with the players. It has everything to do with the salary cap. Why would I have hesitancy towards that? Well, what you have to ask yourself is, what will the new GM or what will get them in value? Are there players out there that may fit this team better for a similar price and plug in other holes. Of course, we do have strength on that defensive line. Make no mistake about it, Leonard Williams is one of the most important pieces on this defense. Between him, Martinez, and Bradbury, Gettleman's done a hell of a job with his 3 major acquisitions that he's brought in on the defense over the last 2 years, and those 3 players have more to do with the resurgence of this defense than anybody else outside of Patrick Graham and the coaching staff. And Leonard Williams is having a career year. He's got 5 sacks, he's got 11 quarterback hits, he's got a PFF grade of 80. He's having a career season. But is it a coincidence that he's having a career season during a contract year? And that's what you have to ask yourself, and you have to ask yourself whether or not he's worth that investment. He's definitely made huge strides for this New York Giants team. I talked about yesterday, the run defense has been phenomenal, and it's been phenomenal since he's gotten here. This year they ranked 6th, haven't given up 100 yards 6 out of the last 7 contests, and he would be a huge hole to fill if the Giants were to let him go. If they sign him, though, don't expect other big free agents this offseason. Maybe one, but then you wouldn't be able to fill a lot of holes. So the Giants have a lot of questions on their hands going into this offseason. Of course, you could franchise tag him, but then you're paying him upwards of $20 million a year on a 1-year deal. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. If you ask me, I'm still slightly leaning no as to whether or not Leonard Williams will be back. But if Gettleman is back, which I think is starting to become more and more likely that he could be, it definitely ups the probability that Leonard Williams will remain a New York Giant. We'll have to wait and see. I still say that I'd be surprised if they keep both Dalvin Tomlinson and Leonard Williams, because then you're talking about tying up nearly 60% of your available cap space and signing these guys to 3 or 4 year deals, tying up future cap space at a position that you already have young assets with B.J. Hill and, of course, Dexter Lawrence. Even Austin Johnson has played well when given the opportunity this year. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out at that position. I also wanted to touch on the offensive line. And like I said, the guard position is a major question mark for the New York Giants going forward. I wanted to pull up the quote from Joe Judge talking about the position and how he plans to, for lack of a better word, continue the musical chairs at the guard spot. Of course, he's done that at the tackle spot. I was surprised when he initially did it, but to Judge's credit and Colombo's credit, the offensive line has actually worked out very nicely since they started to do that. And I expect Joe Judge to continue to do that at the guard spot. And that's exactly what he said earlier this week. Here's what he had to say. As we work in the guards as well, we're going to start moving different guys on different sides. That may be new for a couple of guys. Shane Lemieux, Will Hernandez, and those guys who haven't typically played on the right at different times. Well, who plays on the right now? That's Kevin Zeitler. And to me, this is hinting at Kevin Zeitler, you're going to start to lose playing time. We need to get these young guys in there. We need to get them some exposure. But we've practiced it that way. We'll continue to practice and play it, head coach Joe Judge told reporters on Thursday. We're not looking to play musical chairs just to confuse everybody. We're not looking to make sure we keep we're looking to make sure we keep building our team's depth and get everyone an opportunity to get on the field and contribute. And that's the right thing that Joe Judge is supposed to say, and it's the approach, in my opinion, that he should have going forward. I'll even take it a step further at the wide receiver position. I honestly don't want to see Golden Tate out on the field anymore. I would much rather see guys like Austin Mack develop. And I think Joe Judge may take similar, I'm not saying you won't see Tate at all, but I think you'll start to see younger players get opportunities at that position as well, as the New York Giants are trying to evaluate their future. Guys like Tate and Zeitler are not going to be a part of this team going forward. Guys like Lemieux, guys like Hernandez, and guys, like Austin Mack potentially will be. And I think the New York Giants have to figure that out, and I think they need to continue to play musical chairs now at the guard position as they try to get Lemieux as much exposure as they could potentially get. I still think Hernandez will be back. I still think the New York Giants value him very highly, being that he was an early second-round pick, being that I actually thought he was playing better over the last 2 or 3 weeks before he conducted the virus. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. I'm excited to see how the New York Giants play this week. But yeah, as far as Williams goes, it's still going to be a major question mark. We still got 7 games to play to fully evaluate him over the course of the year. The other option you have with Williams is if you don't sign him, you would get a comp pick for him. There's no doubt about it. Somebody would pay him a premium. You'd probably get a 3rd-round pick for him. So the Giants will have to figure it all out. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.